Hi everyone, welcome to my 9th update for my Penthose eyeshadows project. This project was created by Alexie. I'm going to leave her channel down below. But yeah, this is the 9th update, which I didn't realize that we're so far into the project. I don't know why. It's basically the end of the year. I don't know why I'm surprised. But yeah, let's just get into the update. But as always, I would like to start by reminding you all once again that the war in Ukraine is still happening. So if you would like to help, I'm going to leave, I think, 4 organizations that accept donations. Some of them are like for children, others are for just refugees in general, and so on and so forth. You can go and check them out and donate if you feel comfortable and if you have the funds. If you do, thank you so much, it means the world. But yeah, let's just get into the eyeshadows. Alright, so the first shade I'm going to talk about comes from my Colourpop That's Dope palette. The shade is called Snake Eyes, and here's what it's looking like today. It's over here in the center, and I hope you can see I did end up hitting pan on it. I've used it a total of 21 times, which is the most out of all the shades that I've rolled in this project this year, which is pretty interesting because I feel like most people hit pan on shimmers faster than mattes, but I guess not me. Yeah, I'm very happy to have pan in this shade now. Yeah, if you remember, I mentioned it before, but I'm not the biggest fan of light shimmery neutrals. But after using this shade for like a couple of months, I started liking it a lot. So the 2 looks that I liked it the best in, oh my god, I'm struggling with the language today. One of them was just messily smudging it all over my eyelid and like lower lash line with my finger, and then putting some like black in my waterline and smudging black around my eye for like this a bit of a like easy grungy look. That was very cute. And also for more like put together makeup, I would use the shade Python in my crease and on my lower lash line, and kind of a bit in my outer corner. The shade Slated in my inner corner, and this on my lid, and I would put like a cute little lash on, and that was a very nice makeup too. So yeah, I'm very happy that this shade ended up in this project, because I feel like otherwise I would have kind of looked past it, which would have been really sad. I mean, it wouldn't, but I'm just being dramatic. Anyway, this palette and this shade are going to be rolling out, which is nice. So yeah, let's just move on to the next shade. Okay, so the next shade I would like to talk about comes from my KKW Beauty Chemo palette. It is called Army. I used it a total of 4 times. Here's what it's looking like today. As you can see, there's no pan in it, which is not surprising after 4 uses. But we have a bit of a dip, I would say. Yeah. Here's a swatch of it, by the way. It's like a very pretty sagey green shimmer. I do quite like it, but I guess because it's a shimmer, to me it's not as versatile as a matte is, which I know is technically not true, but in my mind that's how it is. So like I usually wear my shimmers like in the inner corner on the lid, or like on the inner portion of my lower lash line, but that doesn't happen that often. So I'm very limited to like the placement of the shade, and yeah. And since I've been focusing so much on Snake Eyes, which was the main shadow I was wearing all over my lid, this one kind of didn't get as much airtime. So that's that. Not great, but since this is now my oldest shade in this project, I would like to hit pan on it next update, which is going to be a bit of a challenge, but I think I can do it, hopefully. This shade is pretty stiff, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. Let's just move on. Alright, so the next shade I'm going to talk about comes from my Focus palette, which is the Balm Midnight Nude. The shade that I have currently from this palette in this project is called Matte Lombardy. I used it a total of 11 times, and here's what it's looking like today. As you can see, there's no pan in it, but we do have a pretty good dip. But I know from my experience with all the other shades in this palette, it's not deep enough for a pan just yet, so still have some work to do on this shade. But yeah, here's the swatch of it if you can see it there, because this shade is like a very light yellowy bone colored matte, so it's hard to show it swatched out. Yeah, it's not the most exciting shade out there, so I don't know what to say about it. I've been mostly using it, mixing it together with Matte Malloy, which is this white, to make like a lighter shade for blending out eyeshadow or setting like my brow bone, because I usually put concealer on my brow bone because I have pretty veiny eyelids. So, and like sometimes if I'm wearing like purple or a blue, my veins can make eyeshadow look patchy. So yeah, and if I don't set it, then my mascara transfers on it. You didn't have to hear this, I don't know why I explained it just now, but yeah, no pan, have to work on it still. Moving on. So the next two shades I'm going to talk about were both rolled into this project last update, one of them being from this palette, which is Estate Cosmetics times Bailey Sarian Venice Flame, which we had in this project before. The shade that I got this time is called Roller Skates. I used it 2 times so far, not great, but here's what it's looking like today. Yeah, as you could imagine, it doesn't look that much different after 2 uses, but I feel like you can see where I was putting my brush. Yeah, here's a swatch of it. It's kind of like a purpley satin shade. Not my favorite. I personally don't really like satin shades, especially when it comes to colorful shimmers. So yeah, but it's been fun to play around with different toppers for this shade. I think one that I liked the most was with what's it called? Kimchi Chic highlighter in Pearl Gone Wild. It's like a kind of basically a multi-chrome highlighter, honestly. It goes from like purple to blue to green, like a aqua green, to pink. So it looked very pretty with it. But yeah, I still have some way to go, but I am I don't know, relieved to know that these pans are pretty shallow. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But for now, I'm not really worried about it because it's been in this project for only a month. So yeah, let's just talk about the last shade. And finally, the last shade that I'm currently working on. It comes from my Flower Beauty Jungle Lights palette. The shade is called Wild and I used it 3 times. And here's what it's looking like today. So it also doesn't have a pen yet. It's this mauve shimmer over here. Yeah. Here's a swatch of it. It's a very, very beautiful shade. It's kind of almost like the Give Me Glow shimmers, if you are familiar with those, where it's like very metallic. It almost looks like liquid metal on your eyes. So I feel like this swatch doesn't really give it justice, but it's stunning. Just take my word for it. So yeah, I'm very excited to work on this palette because I feel like I haven't used it that much. I honestly found out that about myself, that all shimmer palettes don't really get that much use in my collection. I'm more of a matte eyeshadow person, I suppose. So yeah, so it's great to have this palette in this project because I don't really think about using it like organically, but to have it in a project is pretty nice. So yeah, I guess that is all that I'm going to talk about. So let's just get to our favorite part, I suppose, which is rolling in a new shade. Oh, and I almost forgot, but I wanted to share a bonus pen with you, which I hid in my Colourpop Super Shock Shadow in Frog. Here it is. I hope you can see it. This is a very light shade, light and bright, so it might be hard to see the pen, but it's there. Yeah, I think this is frankly the first ever organic pen I've hit in my life because I feel like all the other ones that I've hit outside projects were more like me specifically focusing on the shade to hit pen on it, just not having it in a project. So yeah, I was very surprised to have hit pen on this because it's honestly not even my favorite Super Shock Shadow I have, and not the one that I use the most. So yeah, a nice surprise. So yeah, let's just finally get to the rolling in part. Okay, so I have my Pretty Random app pulled up. My minimum is 1 and my maximum is 159. We're going to be rolling in just one shade to replace Snake Eyes. So let's just do it. So our shade is going to be under number 558. Okay, I'm going to go look what it is. And if it doesn't have a pan, we're rolling it in. Okay, that's pretty interesting. So on the topic of kimchi chic, we rolled in this palette, which is Kimchi Chic 2 Queens in 1 Desert, or Mad Mixing Suit Yourself. I don't know what's the exact name of this palette. It's their collab palette with Naomi Smalls. The shade is called Spiked. I haven't looked at it. I hope it's a matte because we already have a lot of shimmers. So let's see what it is. Oh, nice. Okay. So Spiked is this matte over here. Isn't it nice? Oh, I love it. It's like a how would I describe it? Like a lime green, but with a bit of grunge. If it makes any sense. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, let me swatch out my new color story and we can wrap up my video after that, probably. Yay. Okay, so here's my new color story. It's a bit chaotic, but we're moving back to having more colorful shades, which I'm pretty excited about. I really like how this purple looks with this green, very Halloween-esque. So yeah, here is it next to our old color story. I definitely prefer the new one. I feel like the old one was a little too neutral for my liking. But yeah, what else? Let me just finish this video by talking to you about my goals and number of pens and everything. And yeah, that would be it. Starting with my yearly goals. So if you remember, I was talking about how I want to have 50 pens in my collection by the end of the year, and we hit that goal a few updates back. And one of those updates, I said I wanted to have 60 pens in my collection. So if my calculations are correct, I currently have 57 pens, so we have 3 more pens to hit to get to the 60 mark. So that's nice. Yeah, very glad, very happy about my progress. And talking about my goals for the next month, I would like to, as I've said already, hit pen on Army, and maybe if I'll get enough time in the month, I might try to hit pen on Wild, because I feel like it shouldn't be that hard. It's very malleable, so yeah. Also, it would be nice to hit pen on Metal Lombardi, but I don't know if that will happen. I will try my best and make it a point to incorporate this shade in more looks, because I usually tend to forget to do that, but I will try to use it more. Yeah, so I think that is it for today's update. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're doing good. Take care. Bye.